Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand, and welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Sunday, February 23, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern. You want to make sure you're in a comfortable position with no outside distraction, relaxed into the body, still as you can be, focusing on the breath rising and falling. If you could separate, in other words, let's say you have a console, right? It's got, everything's labeled, and you tell what you want the body to do, feel, think, the whole 9 yards, but you're not part of it. You're not in it. Let's put it that way. And so you direct the life of the body, direction, any thoughts that the body has or experiences. You put those in there, not the ego mind. And so you're directing and guiding, traveling, turning, speeding, slowing, all the way through this life. The difference is between now, the way things are now with people, is that you're clear. You know. You're in that body and you know exactly what's going on as far as where you're directing, the thoughts you're bringing in, what you're manifesting. Today, most people are in the ego mind, which is not us. And it's like all these different options. We as gods, as pure consciousness that enter these bodies, we have all these different options. And it's loaded out. You can't fit any more options in. Now, the interesting thing is that we all have amnesia, right? So we enter these bodies, and before we come in, we say to ourselves, I'm going to do this, and I want to do that, and so on and so forth. And so when on the way into the body, what happens is that we get zapped. A high electrical charge hits us before we go into the organic material physical body, which means that our memories are wiped. Now, before we go into the body, we have full memory. We're not in amnesia land. So we go in, we get zapped and we go in and we don't have any memory. We might have some residual, which soon fades out. But for the most, once in a great while, one of us will remember a past life. Parts of it. And so we maneuver, right? We're like an empty hard drive, and it starts getting filled up. We listen. Even as little babies, we're taking in and watching and looking, and then as the body grows, we take in more, and we're programmed more, and the hard drive fills up more. And throughout this life, we go by what we are told. That's it. Now, as we become adults, the body gets to a certain age. We bring in our own, some of our own ideas and concepts and perspectives as we travel along this life. But for the most part, we're all programmed on a continual basis, and we don't know it. We don't really know that we're being programmed. It never really comes up. And one might ask, does that programming ever stop? Nope, it doesn't. It just continues. Now, obviously, how are we going to know any different anyway? We don't know. It'd be different if you came into the body and you knew that, no, I'm not going to, I just don't care to be programmed. I will program myself. I'll program this body myself. But this is what happens, and then some of us will discover some things that it's like you see people, you talk about people waking up and realizing stuff. They come out of the fog and they go, wow, I've been programmed with a lot of crap, and I don't care to follow it anymore. I'm going to dump it all. Now, to talk about this is to be aware of it. And this is why I always talk about focus on what you want, not what you don't want. Now, it's like a double-edged sword. In ego mind, which the majority of this species, this civilization, is in, being influenced by, it would be very difficult for us to review our past lives. It'd be very traumatic, depending on what we viewed, what we saw, and then you comprehended all those lives are come and gone. But it's the impact, the emotionality of what you witness in those past lives. Now, in heart-mindedness, it isn't an issue. Why is that? Because you have mastered the ego mind. You have mastered your thoughts. You know who and what you are. The body's temporary. Just like all these lifetimes that you have experienced are temporary. And they're filled with experience. So you would look at them differently from heart-mindedness, way different than you would ego-minded. Ego-minded would cause you to have some serious challenges. Heart-mind, you would just, look at it, embrace it, and move on. Now, if we had, let's say that we didn't get zapped, right? And we came into the body, and we knew we didn't have a blank space. And so we intended and did, and we directed ourselves in that life. And we remembered all of our past lives. So we would have comparisons, right? You could compare. Nope, not going to do this lifetime. Did it that lifetime. Not going to engage with this. Did that another lifetime. You would begin to realize that that seems to be a lot fuller for us than having this constant amnesia every single lifetime. We come in and we don't remember anything. We leave, right? We leave the body, and then we don't remember that life after we come into another one. Is this really, is it being perpetrated from these beings with their soul-catching machines and wiping our memories out, creating this matrix of a heaven, a hell, all of our relatives and pets and everything? Every time we pass out a body and we go over there, we call it crossing over to the other side, and then we go and we see all these people, and they're all carrying their bodies. Well, one might say, well, the reason they do that is so you won't be frightened. That doesn't really cut the mustard. So it's all a facsimile. It's not real. It's an illusion. And why is this played? This is what keeps us in the cycle. This is what keeps us. See, if you remembered your past lives, right? Chances are you probably would not reincarnate. You would say, no, I'm good. I am good. And believe it or not, some of us, we have it. It's not like there's some of us that don't have 1,000, 20,000, whatever lifetimes. Some of us will have one or two, and we're done. See, it's our choice. It isn't anybody's choice but ours. And then we choose. One might say, well, what do you do if you don't come back into a material physical body? You're wild and free. Okay? You have no intention of incarnating again. Now, there are those of us who had traumatic situations throughout the ages where we incarnated into a life, right? It was so traumatic that we decided that we would not do that ever again. We would not reincarnate. We would not incarnate to another life. See, so there's a big variance. It's not like everybody is herded into a corral and then processed into a life. There are certain parts of it that we decide for ourselves. And without the memory, this is why we continually reincarnate. Because we don't have the memory. We have the memory before we enter another life. But like I said, as you're going in, your memory's removed. Now, one might ask, well, does that mean that will we progress enough so that we don't have that obstacle where we don't have amnesia, we choose to go incarnate, and we experience that life? But the difference is that we're heart-minded beings, not ego-minded. We are masters of our thoughts. Huge difference. Where would this planet be had that been the case, say, 1 million years ago, where we were just heart-minded, pure consciousness, God's in the body, mastered our thoughts? Well, you'd be existing on a God planet paradise. That's what you'd be doing. Learning, experiencing, but in a whole different playground. And we have this, it's unending on the vastness of the universes. You could say there's one universe and there's all these connecting, interlinking universes. It depends on how you perceive it. You go 100 quintillion light years away, and you're into another universe. Some universes are larger than others. Some universes are so expansive that it doesn't seem that you could ever cross them, travel them and then enter another universe. So it's all connected. There is some form of illusion, but in the long run, it's all connected. The illusion is the separation, just like we have here on this planet. Our illusion is separation. And yet, we're never separate. And we're never alone. That's a biggie. So you can tell that there's a lot of people on this planet that they get alone. They feel alone, secluded, separated. And all you do is you look up into the sky and you go, how in the heck can I be alone? I've got this entire universe right there. And again, it's how we've been conditioned emotionally. That's the biggie. We've been conditioned emotionally. So we believe a certain way, we think a certain way, we manifest certain ways. See, we do have all of our content, all of our lifetimes, just that we don't know how to access it. And if you looked inside your mind, there are memories piled upon memories and beliefs within beliefs all stacked to infinity. And for every new thought that is forming right now, there are a dozen new thoughts soon to follow. I mean, you could just sit down, like on today, lazy Sunday afternoon, and spiritually investigate who you really are. And you'll find you can ascend and descend forever within the deepest realms of your very soul. However, what you might find most fascinating inside of this infinite mystery is in the relationship that's manifesting between our inner world and the outer universe. It behaves something like a perpetual reflection in a mirror. Whatever is happening within our inner world is attracting, magnetizing, and manifesting what we are experiencing in our outer world. Even though it's like, do we know that? Are we real clear on that? Right? If you wake up and you just feel good, and you just have a good day, right? Or if you wake up and you feel bad, and you just have a bad day. It's how we feel is the key. If you don't feel good, 9 times out of 10, you're not going to have a good day. If you feel good, you'll have a good day. It's all on how we feel. It's a feeling. When you feel the God that you are within that body, it's like we're walking around on this planet, and everywhere we go, everything we do is being reflected in other things, in other people, vice versa. So it's like you're walking around and all these mirrors are reflecting parts of you back to you. That'd be a wild experience, wouldn't it? Now, are we aware of that? Mostly no. Because we see separate. We see the body there and the group of people over there, and you're here, they're there, and your mind goes, well, we're separate. We're not together. We're not one. And this is the conflict that's in the mind, ego mind, because it believes that it is the head honcho, and that what it says goes. And all we do is follow it. So every single time, no matter what you feel within you, is going to happen outside of you. It's a proven fact. What you feel inside of you is going to happen outside of you. And most of us are not reaching deep enough inside ourselves to reconnect with our actual living, breathing, infinite spiritual essence. Our spiritual nature is a real thing. It is our most basic reality. It is what keeps our heart beating, our breathing, and our life force moving through us in every moment of existence. Now, you don't have to breathe your body. Your body does it for you. The same as with your spiritual essence. It is living and creating through your physical body, unfolding its essential karmic programming within this great cosmic playground. To finally come to full grips with the only reason any of us suffer, the only reason suffering happens on this planet is when the mind gets in the way. That's the only reason. It's the only reason all of us in certain situations and circumstances suffer, because the mind always gets in the way. This is why we would like to manifest things that don't happen, because the mind gets in the way. And it starts throwing out all kinds of thoughts. And then doubt comes in, fear comes in, resistance comes in, and it's all mind-generated. And you can see why it is so impactful for us to decide to master our ego mind. So you can say to yourself, that means that when I master the ego mind through my heart mind, I will not suffer ever again. That's exactly right. I will not doubt ever again. That's exactly right. I will not fear ever again. That's exactly right. Now, it seems, unwalked territory, let's say. The ground is sacred because it's never been walked on. And we don't correlate this whole bag of tricks. But once we get on the scent of it, and we begin to identify that in these bodies that each of us are in right now, we are given the challenges of ego-mind mastership, thought mastership, two crucial areas, and discovering that we are not the body, that we are the God, the pure consciousness within the body, and that the body is just temporary for us to have the experience of physical material form. Our natural state of being isn't suffering, isn't greed, isn't manipulation, isn't dishonesty. It's peace, gentleness, kindness, generosity, humbleness. It's not what we've been trained to believe and act upon. The whole ball of wax on this planet, the reason the planet operates the way it does, the reason that there are beings that do what they do for eons and eons and eons, is because, and let's put it this way, the more, let's say that the more the evil is advanced, the higher control that the ego mind has. Isn't that wild? And you can see it as you watch and not judge. You see it. You see it all over. You see the greed. Where does the greed come from? It comes from ego mind. Ego mind is the master. Insecurity, fear, worry, stress, anxiety, all come from the ego mind, which is not us, but yet we believe it is. We're not even the heart mind. We're none of that stuff. Oh, it's only while we're in the body. But we have a conduit through the heart mind that goes directly to the God, pure consciousness within these bodies. And it's our choice. Do we go within, and do we not just superficial go within? Do we go deep within and discover exactly who and what we are? Or do we go a little ways and go, no, I'm not going to go any further? It's a choice that we make. But you get to the point where you say, I don't really care to suffer anymore. I know it's my ego mind. I know ego mind's been in charge for a long time. But you know what? I don't care to suffer anymore, so I'm going to master my ego mind through my heart mind. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to fold into the now. And I'm going to move into the heart mind and be. I'm not going to engage the ego mind. I'm going to do that as much as I can, not engage it. I'm going to focus on mastering my thoughts so that I know when I send a thought out, I'm sending it through heart-mindedness and not ego mind. And then you'll witness for yourself, slowly but surely, all that stuff will just fade out. The chatter, the suffering, the disappointment, the anxiety, hurriedness, all of it will just fade out. Because as you master the ego mind, all those things are ego mind. You don't create them. You don't. The ego mind does. Some of us get so filled up that we start to tear at the seams, which is deep emotional upheaval. We're all squeezed on this planet, right? We're squeezed into tiny temporal boxes. And the temporal boxes are all about time. Time. We're all squeezed in these tiny temporal boxes. And we just don't have time to feel what eternity is like. It's like anything that you watch or you hear or listen to, there's always something saying, we're in a race. We're in a race. On this planet, remember, we were in an arms race. For years and years and years. And then now we're in an AI race. A race to better one another. To be more powerful than the other. To get ahead of the other. So one can control the other. That's all ego mind. All of it. Rather than working together, creating something that is doable and actually assists but doesn't own the civilization of planet Earth. And all this is driven, it's very apparent that all of these people are disconnected from the infinite eternal beings that we actually are. And the addictive part is the dwelling of the mind on what is not infinite or eternal. And that's what makes us feel spiritually disconnected from every living being on this planet today. And the only reason, right, we all come into these limited time-bound physical bodies so that we can acquire a contrasting perspective and experience ourselves as the infinite eternal being we actually are. And we have the capability to create, manifest, and experience anything we desire. We are all the children of a great universal consciousness, God, that is impregnated with unlimited potentiality. See, this is why our inner world is always impacting and manifesting something in our outer world. Every thought that you believe to be true is what is creating your reality. You remember that your thoughts are always flowing through you and are always creating everything in your life. You become whatever you think in the future. So doesn't it make sense to be very aware of your innermost thoughts and yet somehow remain non-attached? We all know that our thoughts are not who we truly are. We are eternal, infinite consciousness who is beyond form and time. We are pure awareness, reflecting back on itself in this physical universe of space and time. It's always about letting go of thoughts that we're cycling in our mind yesterday and ideas about the way life should turn out for us tomorrow. Be here now. Now is the moment of power. Now is where enlightenment is discovered. For physically, you are forever forced to exist in this present moment. Your present awareness is always being generated from this present moment. Know this and live and breathe within this knowing. You want your life to be more smoother? You want it to be smoother, period, fuller, more in touch with utter bliss? Get in touch with your internal essence. Let go of any limiting thoughts that you have and drop into the knowingness that you are an infinite soul who will never, ever, ever, ever die. Now, if you crave for some secure life that is easy and light, give that experience to yourself on the inner world within first. Find out how to soothe yourself emotionally, giving deep, robust, tingling sensations to every corner of your body, mind, and spirit. The great experience of divinity is always available and ready for us to take into the higher dimensions. Our greatest life is ready for us here and now. So you choose to open yourself up and welcome it in. You will find the infinite within the finite. Trust the process. Breathe it in. Enjoy every breath you are giving. Meditation is a listening with a receptive heart. Buddha. Joining in meditation, I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose. And an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, relaxed into your body. Focus on your breath rising and falling. You will always be safe. Relax and feel how safe you are in this moment. All that you fear is simply an illusion of the mind. Breathe into this truth and let your worries melt away. Let down your guard and enjoy the beauty of being. There's nothing that can truly hurt the real you. You are an eternal spiritual being, unshaken by wind, untouched by fire. You are timeless, formless, and infinitely wise. This universe is always holding you in a cozy, gentle, super safe embrace. You are surrounded by love, always cradled by grace. Every step you take is guided. Every breath is a deep and eternal loving. Every moment a miracle. Your heart is safe, your spirit unbreakable. Trust this universe. It is unfolding everything perfectly for you. Life is on your side, always and in all ways. Feel the soft glow of love in your chest. Let it expand, filling every cell with light. Surrender to the joy of being fully alive. You are cherished and so very much loved. Since everything is a reflection of our minds, everything can be changed by our minds. Buddha. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Monday, February 24, 2025, after 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's going on within you or outside of you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.